Welcome back to Newsmax Prime. Reports yesterday confirmed the death of Taliban leader Mullah Omar. And while at first glance this would appear to be good news for the U.S. in its fight against terror, the Taliban does not seem happy their secret is out. And as a result, they've stopped peace talks with the Afghan government. For more on this, let's welcome in from Newsmax Washington, a gentleman who can list on his resume the fact that he was the former director of both the National Security Agency and the Central Intelligence Agency, General Michael Hayden. Mike, welcome back to Newsmax Prime.
Thanks, Jenny.
Now, this is interesting. The reports confirmed the death of Mullah Omar. Apparently, he died a couple of years ago. What does that say about our own intelligence?
Well, if we didn't know, and I certainly have no indications that we did, it shows how tough a target that Quetta Shura, that Mullah Omar was the head of, was for us. I'd also suggest, JD, and this is it's a little dark interpretation, but I think it needs to be said. I mean, the man died in Karachi. Quetta is in Pakistan, and so one can surmise that he survived there, and this was kept secret, perhaps with the knowledge of the Pakistani intelligence service. They were always a difficult partner. Their interests and our interests weren't always the same. So more than our ignorance, perhaps, I'm more concerned about what did the Pakistani ISI know and what they did and didn't share with us.
And you raise a very interesting question about our relationship with Pakistan. I want to get back to that in just a second, but I want to go back to the original point about the secrecy surrounding this. It seems it may have been Taliban-driven to a certain degree because, as I understand it, analysts say this group is likely to disintegrate into factions. What do you think will happen with the death of Mullah Omar? Will we see the end of the Taliban?
I don't think we see the end of the Taliban, JD, at all. It's kind of a populist sort of group building from the ground up. But I do think you're right. The analysts who are suggesting you can see factional disputes and maybe even infighting here, I think that's correct. It seems as if this wasn't just kept secret from us. It was kept secret from most of the Taliban. The individual who's replaced Mullah Omar, Mullah Mansour, doesn't nearly have his street cred or his theological credentials that Mullah Omar had. And then, JD, and this is really scary for me, it appears that the new deputy is Siraj Haqqani, who's got an awful lot of American blood on his hands. I can understand why the Taliban may have pulled back from those peace talks, or at least discussions they were having with the Afghan government, until they perhaps get a bit more unity of effort under them.
Well, we take a look at this, and you set up a very sobering assessment of this new leadership team within the Taliban, especially the new deputy. But I want to return to the question of our relationship with Pakistan. What on earth do we do? Do we just have to take it as a granted that Pakistan will have converging interests that may be in opposition to our own?
Look, that's a given, JD, and I think there are two things that are turning here. One is Pakistan's perception of their interests are different than American interest in South Asia. Frankly, I think the Pakistani perception is somewhat wrong, but there's no challenging that their perception and what we view to be our interests are quite different. And then, secondly, JD, there's a circle inside that circle, and that's the autonomous, maybe even independent role of the Pakistani military and Pakistani intelligence, the ISI, within the Pakistani state. Their definition of civilian control is a far distance from ours.
Well, let's turn to our nation, where there's still a great deal of civilian control, especially in the military. Yesterday, General Martin Dempsey spoke and testified before the Senate Armed Services Committee and may have dealt a major blow to the case made by President Obama and Secretary Kerry for the Iran deal. Let's listen to what General Dempsey had to say and then get your reaction afterwards.
And I understand that you advise the president on these issues. Is that what you have told the president? Is that we either take this deal or we go to war?
No, at no time did that come up in our conversation, nor did I make that comment.
Who is advising the president then that we must go to war if this deal is not signed?
I can't answer that. I can tell you that we have a range of options, and I always present them.
You hear that, Mike? Your reaction. We have about 25 seconds for it.
No, the chairman's a straight shooter. That's exactly what he needs to say as a senior military advisor to the president. And then, you know, JD, we all sign something when we get promoted to 3- and 4-star that we will be totally honest when testifying to Congress. You saw that out of General Dempsey yesterday.
So General Dempsey laid it out. He is the very model of the chairman of the Joint Chiefs offering that kind of candid answer, in your opinion. General Michael
absolutely.
General Michael Hayden, we appreciate your experience, your analysis of what is going on both at home and abroad, and Newsmax Prime will be back.